guys, in the last video, we looked at Psalm 90:10 in conjunction with 1948 plus the year of the resurrection. And I ended that video by asking the question, is 2025 the only viable year of the rapture? Well, ever since I made that video, God has actually been giving me some plans for the future. And at first, I didn't know what was happening because it was all different sets of plans. But then I realized, through the power of the Holy Spirit, of course, that He was actually giving me three different options. Remember the Hezekiah moment that He offered us? Well, if 2025 is the only viable year for the rapture, He can't really offer us a Hezekiah moment, can He? Now, He knows what we're going to choose, and He knows that all the signs need to point to the year we're going to choose, okay? But the plans He gave me came in three different forms. There were long-term plans, mid-term plans, and short-term plans. And the long-term plans were for 5 or more years, okay? I don't know that it was more than 5, but I do know it was at least 5. And then He gave me some short-term plans for about 2, maybe 3 years. And then, midterm plans. And then He gave me short-term plans for now, as in going like this year, okay? So I started thinking about these plans, and I was like, okay, you're telling me there's more than one viable year for the rapture. And I said, well, God, how is that so? Okay? Because what He showed me last time led to 2025. So how could it be anything other than that? So He reminded me that Jesus said He would raise us up in the third day, meaning it could possibly go beyond the 2,000 years a little bit, okay? And I've done a teaching in the past on why that's true. I showed y'all the years that the years that God has when He created Adam, that He had those 18 to 20 years He could use extra. Plus, God is using several different timelines here, okay? The creation timeline, the fall of Adam timeline, so forth, okay? So He told me, with that in mind, being raised up in the third day, beyond the 2,000 years from the resurrection, we can look at Psalm 90:10 in conjunction with 1950. Remember the blood moon tetrad where Israel became a nation in 1948, but it wasn't really finalized until 1950. And He said, leave out the year of the resurrection. So He told me to take the 1950, look at Psalm 90:10 at the 80-year mark, but then He said you got to add the birthday year because they will remain in their 80th year until the 81st year begins. So if we take April of 2032, which would be the end of the birthday year, and we go back 69 weeks, it brings us to the last week of December in 2030. So if we look at 2030 as being, as Psalm 90:10 said, when it's cut off and we fly away, there's only two possibilities. It has to be pre-trib or mid-trib, just like the 2028. So where does that leave us if we put it on a timeline? So if we go back and we look at the dates where the Jewish Hanukkah is on or near Christmas time, and we look at the moon phases for the time frame where the rapture will take place, that gives us two more options to look at. We've already discussed 2025 to 2032, with 2028 being the mid-trib. But that also gives us a possibility of 2027, with 2030 at mid-trib and 2034 the second coming. Or we could have 2030 pre-trib with 2033 mid-trib and 2037 being the second coming. And unless He shows me any differently, all of those would still work. That's why he gave me the 3 sets of plans for the future. And what he told me was he's not going to let us know what the decision is until we get closer to time, because he wants everybody to make sure that they are really and truly ready to go home. He's going to give people the opportunity to change their mind up until almost the last minute. Okay? So here's what I'm going to tell y'all. This is what I'm doing for my family. I'm going to plan my life as though we'll be here until 2030, but I've got my left behind stuff ready to go if it ends up being this year. Now, he wants to hear from us one more time, from everybody. Are you sure you don't want this Hezekiah moment? And guys, someone had a question about how to count the 7 years and 6 months. It's like this. You have the resurrection around Halloween, 1st of November. So you have to count November and December as 2 months. Then you have the 7 years of the tribulation period, where these are from January to December. And then after the second coming, you have these 4 months right here from January to April, because we don't start counting the new year for the millennial reign until like May 1st or 2nd right here. So those 4 months, along with these 2 months, give you your 7 years and 6 months. And with that, I'll say, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Shalom.